Hey y'all. So I am getting better very slowly. I'm finally able to kind of eat today. And I started getting sick Sunday night, and today is Friday. And I am just now starting to feel a little bit better. So I actually wanted to go ahead and get on because I found some turkey tail growing on a dead limb that was in our yard. And I decided to go ahead and harvest the turkey tail and make a tincture out of it because turkey tail is really good for several things. It's good for immunity. It's good for your gut health. It's good for preventing cancer. It's good for killing cancer cells if you already have them. So it's just all around a really good mushroom to use, and a lot of people make tinctures out of it. This will be my first time having the resources to make a tincture out of it, but I did find some. Here's a little piece of it. I've already taken it off the log and torn it into small pieces. I didn't want to record this just because it was a long and arduous process, and that would have taken way too much time in the video. So the way you can tell it's a turkey tail is it kind of fans out like a turkey tail. It's got all those different circles of color, so you can clearly see the different color bands. The back is porous and not smooth, but it is porous, and that's where all of the spores are. So this is 100% turkey tail. I am putting it in a mason jar, as you can see, and I'm going to fill that with 80 proof alcohol. I'm going to personally use bourbon. I believe a lot of people use vodka, but it's all in preference. So I'm going to do that and let that sit. I'm going to let it sit in the alcohol for about 8 weeks. And then I'm going to do what's called a double extraction, which means I am going to strain out the turkey tail from the alcohol. And then I'm going to take the same turkey tail that was in the alcohol and put it in hot water and have it simmer for probably a few hours. And then I'm going to strain out that liquid once it is the desired color. And I'm going to pour it in with the alcohol tincture that we've gotten, because these are both alcohol and water soluble as far as their properties go. So you want to do a double extraction with these to get the most out of your turkey tail. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the mess that I have on my counter from getting this done. Commonly found on hardwoods. So here is that hardwood that it was growing on, and you can see it still has the bases of the mushrooms on it. I'm going to leave those there so that maybe the turkey tails will grow back next year. And then I've got all this plant matter. So the thing with turkey tail is it tends to grow around any plant matter. So the plant matter often ends up stuck inside of the turkey tail. And you kind of have to pull the turkey tail apart and pull it away from the plant matter. Here's one of those bases that came off. You see it's still got a ton of plant matter inside of it. And then I also just kind of cleaned as much dirt off of them as I possibly could. I did not want to get these wet because I wanted to make sure that none of those good properties come out before I get the alcohol portion of the properties out. So that was the reason behind that part. But I'm going to go ahead and get my alcohol into this. So give me just a moment. Just as a quick side note, I would suggest making sure that you take the turkey tails off of the branch and get all the plant matter off and everything outside, as well as tearing them up outside, because I had mushroom spores all over my kitchen in the process of doing this, and it was quite thick. And as someone with asthma, it's not ideal to be breathing that in, just because it's not natural for the lungs, and it's kind of makes it a little bit difficult to breathe. All right, so I've got that in there. That's not gonna fit. So I'm going to take this little candle holder and put that in as a sort of a weight to hold down as much of that turkey tail under the alcohol as I possibly can, because I want to get all of that covered in the alcohol. And I'm just going to leave that in there for a little bit, because I'm going to end up shaking it anyway, but I just want to make sure it all gets fully submerged. Like so. Okay. And now I'm going to give it a good swish. Make sure we've got the air bubbles out. And actually, I'm going to add a bit more because it is not covering as much as it was. So we're going to add some more alcohol here. Just to make sure they are all fully covered. Now that we've got the air bubbles out, I'm going to use my clear plastic wrap. I'm going to put this over the jar. And I'll end up taking a rubber band and putting the rubber band over the top of this. And then that way it'll be sealed nice and tight. And I'll be able to shake it and do anything I need to with it without worrying about it spilling out. And then I'm going to put this in a cool, dark place. I like to use a closet that is in our living room. And I'm going to let this sit for 8 weeks. I am going to label it. That way I know like when I put it in, when I can take it out, all that stuff. And I don't worry about shaking these daily like some people do. I just kind of shake it whenever I think about it, because I have a horrible memory. And so I try not to stress about it too much, because there's going to be a little bit of buildup in the bottom of the jar. But that's going to happen regardless. You're just not going to see it when you shake it daily because, well, you're shaking it. So it's going to be floating around in there instead of on the bottom of the jar. And that's not going to hurt anything. It's perfectly fine. So, again, I'm just going to let this sit for about 8 weeks in my closet. And then I will take it out and I will do the second part of the tincture. And that's when I'll do the water. But there you go. First part of the turkey tail mushroom tincture. See you guys later. If you have any questions, let me know.